and welcome to Cozy Love Whispers. Settle in, get comfortable, and let tonight's chapter unfold by the fire.
Chapter 9. Sunlit Promises. Part 1. Nikolai. Melissa pulled up outside the cafe just as I was locking the door. She leaned across the passenger seat to grin at me as I climbed in. "There's my little Omega, you've got that look." I slid into the car, cheeks already heating. "What look?" "The one that says you're trying really hard not to smile too big." She started the engine, humming as she pulled away from the curb. "Go on, sit there and deny it." I looked out the window, fingers twisting in my lap. No matter how much I tried to hide it, the truth kept pressing against my chest, threatening to spill over. My heart was still at Hia's house, tucked into his arms. Melissa let me sit with my thoughts the whole ride, saying nothing, until she parked outside my home and turned off the engine. She didn't move to get out. Instead, she shifted in her seat to face me, eyes soft but sharp with knowing. "So," she said, stretching the word, "are you going to tell me why you're glowing like you just walked out of a dream?" I laughed weakly, pressing a hand to my face. "Was it that obvious?" "Little Nick, I'm your Omega confidant. You can't fool me." Her smile gentled. Something happened, something good. My heart thudded. The memory of his arms around me so vivid, I almost smelled his scent again. I stayed the whole day at Hia's house. Melissa's eyes lit up. "Tell me everything." The words spilled out of me. The little cafe, the countryside drive, the wraparound porch, the lake, the dock stretching out over the water. I told her about the White House sitting on 2 acres of green land, about the air so fresh and clean it felt like breathing for the first time. "Melissa," I said, leaning in, "you won't believe this." "What?" "Tell me," she exclaimed, eyes sparkling. "He gave me a nesting room." She gasped, clutching her chest. "A nesting room? A whole room?" "Yes." I laughed, cheeks burning. Double the size of my bedroom at home, with its own bathroom, a tub big enough for 4 people, and a balcony that overlooks the lake. "Nick." She shook her head slowly, grinning. "That's a dream." "The best dream," I whispered. "And the best part, he told me it's completely mine. I can do whatever I want with it." He gave me a tablet already set up with payments saved and told me to order anything I wanted. Money isn't an issue, just get what I want. Her hand found mine and squeezed. "He's taking such good care of you." I felt my chest swell, my smile turning shy. "Yes, he is." She held my hand a moment longer, her gaze steadying. "You're glowing, little Nick. But tell me, how did you feel? Not about the lake or the balcony, about him. About Alpha Zan. Did it feel right?" Her words sank into me, and I let my eyes drift to the porch light, glowing faintly through the windshield. "Yes," I said finally, my voice low, more than safe. It felt like I belonged there, like the house wasn't just his, it was already ours. Being with him didn't feel like visiting, it felt like home. Melissa's smile wavered with emotion, her eyes going bright. "That's how you know it's real. A bond isn't just attraction, Nick. It's that sense of rightness, that peace. When your body and your heart both rest in someone without fear, that's the truth of it." I swallowed, fingers curling in my lap. When he held me, I thought my heart would burst. It wasn't just comfort, it was everything, like I'd been waiting my whole life to feel that way. She reached over and brushed a strand of hair from my forehead, the way she always had when I was small. Then, "Hold on to that, sweetheart. Don't let the world, or even your own doubts, tell you it's too much or too soon. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to be cared for." I nodded, my throat tight. "Melissa," I took a breath. "I've made up my mind. I'm going to tell him about being able to conceive a child. This weekend, when my nest is ready, I'm going to tell him everything." Her eyes softened. "I agree. This Alpha is the real deal. He's going to be so happy," I whispered, already picturing his face. She squeezed my hand one last time, her voice low but firm. "Little Nick, I respect your decision completely. This is your relationship. You go at the pace you set, no one else's." She paused, then added gently, "But one piece of advice. Don't tell your parents you're going to tell him. Keep this between you and your alpha. What happens in your household stays in your household. That's how you and Zan build something strong, by keeping what's private, private. I listened quietly, her words settling into me like something solid. We can talk because we're Omega to Omega, she went on softly, but no one else. Do you understand? I nodded, tears stinging the corners of my eyes. I do. That's how your brother and I have stayed strong, she said, smiling faintly. Boundaries, trust, and love. I unbuckled my seatbelt and gave her hand one last squeeze. Thank you for everything. Always, little Nick. She smiled. Go get some rest. You've had a big couple of days. I slipped out of the car, the cool evening air brushing over me as I crossed the path to the front door. The porch light glowed soft and steady, like it had been waiting. Inside, the house was quiet, until I turned and found my father sitting in his armchair, a book closed loosely in his hand. He studied me with that sharp gaze that always saw more than I wanted it to. You're home late, he said, voice calm but firm. Yes, Dad. I stepped further inside. Melissa gave me a ride. He nodded once. Come, sit and talk to your old man. I smiled, crossing the room to settle beside him on the couch. For a long moment, he was silent, weighing me with those steady eyes. Then he leaned forward, resting his forearms on his knees. So, how did yesterday go? At Zan's house? My heart pounded, but the words came easily. It was wonderful. I cooked Alfredo pasta and we ate and talked. He gave me space to rest. He made me feel like I belonged there, not like a guest, like something more. My father's expression softened, though his voice stayed even. Did he treat you with respect? Yes. My throat tightened, with more than respect, with care. He sat back slowly, nodding to himself. That is all I need to hear. Relief spread through me, loosening the tight coil in my chest. Then his gaze sharpened again. Just remember, my son, love is not proven in grand gestures alone. It is proven in the quiet days, the difficult days. When storms come, you will see his true strength. He held my eyes. Until then, guard your heart, but do not be afraid to give it. I lowered my head, a smile tugging at my lips, despite the tears in my eyes. Yes, Dad. I made my way upstairs, my heart still full from my father's words. But as I closed my bedroom door behind me, another ache rose. Soft and certain, I needed to hear Hia's voice. I picked up my phone, scrolled to his contact, and pressed call before I could second-guess myself. He answered on the first ring. Baby, I miss you so much. I smiled into the darkness. I miss you too, Hia. We talked easily, about work, about Melissa driving me home, about the chill creeping into the October evenings. He told me he didn't want me walking in the cold and that he would drive me most nights himself, Melissa covering the ones he couldn't. I told him I'd ask her. How was your day? I asked. He sighed, his voice carrying the weight of a long day. Busy, love. We landed a big client, a massive contract, a lot to manage. I leaned back against my pillows, listening to the warmth underneath his exhaustion. He ran an architecture firm, one his father had passed down 4 years ago when he retired. Hia was the CEO now, carrying all of it on his shoulders. I hope everything goes well with the project, I said softly. Thank you, baby. His tone gentled. And how are you feeling? How's my love doing? I'm doing great, Hia. Just missing you is all. His chuckle rumbled low through the speaker. Well, this weekend we'll be together the whole time. My heart leapt. I'm so excited. I am too. His voice warmed. I can't wait to have you in our home again, to help set up your furniture for your nest. I just know you'll make it perfect. Thanks, Hia. I can't wait either. Baby, get some rest now. I know you have work tomorrow. I'll try to stop by the cafe this week if I can, but with this new client, I may have to work late most nights. I want to make sure I can give you my undivided attention this weekend. That's fine, I said softly. I'll ask Melissa to drive me home this week. Good. His voice dropped, warm and low. Good night, baby. Sleep well. Good night, Hia. After I hung up, I took a shower and curled into bed, my mind already spinning forward to the weekend. I could barely wait. Chapter 9, Sunlit Promises, Part 2. Nikolai. Friday came faster than I imagined. Morning sunlight spilled across my room as I stood by the door, bag at my feet, waiting for Hia to pull up. He'd told me everything I'd ordered had already been delivered and was sitting in his living room, waiting for me. The thought made my chest flutter. Soon I would see my nest take shape. Soon I would be home. I laughed at myself quietly. I was already calling it home, and honestly, it already felt that way. It hadn't even been a month, and yet I already knew my true place was with him. Mom, Dad, I'm leaving. Have a great weekend. Mom's voice floated back from somewhere inside the house. I stepped outside just as Hia's car pulled up. Before I could even reach the passenger door, he jumped out and came around the front. Now, love, he said with that teasing smile. What did I tell you about opening doors? That Nick should wait and let Hia open it, I murmured, cheeks already warming. Good boy. His hand brushed my face as he said it. A shiver moved through me at those words. His good boy, soft and certain, like they had always belonged to me. He opened the door and I climbed inside. He leaned across to click my seatbelt, his face passing so close to mine that I felt his breath. His neck brushed just in front of my lips, and without thinking, I closed my eyes and breathed in. His scent wrapping around me instantly, rich and warm and everything. He settled behind the wheel and glanced at me. Baby, are you okay? I drew a breath, steadying myself. Yes, I'm okay. He smiled and pulled out of the driveway. The farther we drove, the more the world opened up. Rows of trees gave way to fields. City noise faded until all I could hear was the steady hum of the engine and the quiet of the countryside rolling past my window. I leaned my head against the glass, watching morning sunlight pour across stretches of gold and green, the sky a pale autumn blue. Every mile seemed to lift something off my chest, as if we were leaving behind everything heavy and stepping into something lighter, freer. Hia reached over, his fingers brushing mine where my hands rested in my lap. He laced them together without a word, his thumb tracing slow circles over my skin. You're quiet, baby. I turned to look at him, cheeks warming. I'm just excited, thinking about my nest, about being with you all weekend. His smile curved, tender, and a little possessive. When you're with me, love, the whole house feels alive, like it's finally what it was meant to be. My heart squeezed, too full to answer. I held his hand tighter instead. When his driveway finally came into view, my breath caught. The long stretch of gravel gleaming in the sunlight, the wide white porch beckoning me closer, and beyond it, the shimmer of the lake, calm and waiting. Hia glanced over, his eyes warm. Welcome home, baby. Hia, I murmured, the word slipping out before I could stop it, making him laugh. Well, my home is yours, baby, he said firmly. Nick belongs with his Hia, right? I smiled, my heart swelling. Yes, I do. He came around to open my door, and when he helped me out, he paused, tilting my face gently until I had no choice but to meet his gaze. One more thing, baby. Let Hia click you in and out of your seatbelt, too. Hia is responsible for his Nick's safety. Let me do this. It makes me feel good to take care of my beautiful boy. I looked down shyly. Okay, Hia, I thought to myself. When I look into his eyes, I'd agree to almost anything. The living room was piled high with boxes and packages, everything I had ordered, waiting for me. Hia rolled up his sleeves and got to work without a word. He opened packages, carried furniture into my nest, assembled the bed and chairs and love seat with steady, capable hands. When the heavy lifting was done, he stacked the remaining bags neatly inside, his hand brushing my shoulder in a quiet caress as he stepped back toward the door. Then, with a soft smile, he slipped out and closed the door behind him, leaving me alone in my new space. I turned slowly, heart pounding, taking it all in. My nest, my room. Then I noticed it. On the chair, the shirt he'd pulled off while moving the heavy furniture. My fingers trembled as I picked it up and pressed it to my face. His scent wrapped around me instantly. Warm cinnamon and golden honey, rich and intoxicating. My knees weakened, a sound catching in my throat that I had to muffle in the fabric. His presence, his care, his love, all of it so tangible, I could almost feel his hands brushing my skin, his breath warm against my ear. For a long moment, I just stood there, breathing him in, letting him fill every part of me. Then, I set the shirt carefully over the back of the chair. My nest was waiting. I opened the first box and pulled out the bedding, layers of blush and rose silky soft beneath my fingertips. The canopy bed frame gleamed in the light, already built by Hia's strong hands. I spread the sheets and blankets over it, smoothing every wrinkle until it was perfect, then scattered pillows across the top in a soft, inviting heap. Last, I drew the long pink curtains around the canopy, the fabric falling in gentle folds, surrounding the bed like a cocoon. With a simple tug, I could close myself off from the rest of the room, wrapped in softness and quiet. My cheeks warmed at the thought of Hia and me curled up inside together. Next came the window curtains, pale pink with embroidered edges, catching the sunlight as I draped them across the glass, softening the whole room in a rosy glow. I stepped back, breath catching. Already the space was changing, becoming warm, becoming safe, becoming mine. One by one, I unpacked the rest. A plush rug in shades of rose and cream, soft under my bare feet. The love seat near the balcony doors, draped with a strawberry-colored throw. 2 chairs, one on the balcony to look out over the lake, one angled in the corner like it was waiting for quiet conversations. Then the little details, picture frames in delicate blush tones, glass vases filled with faux blossoms, small shelves lined with candles that shimmered softly, even unlit. With each piece, my heart swelled. When I finally stepped back, the room glowed in shades of pink, my safe place, my heart made visible. I smiled, pressing a hand to my chest. Soon, I would invite him in. Soon, I would show him not just my nest, but the truth of what I carried inside me, of who I really was, fully. Curiosity pulled me toward the bed. I sat on the edge and drew all the canopy curtains closed, sealing myself inside. The world outside dimmed. The space grew quiet, warm, and still. But something was missing. I knew immediately what it was. I slipped back out, grabbed Hia's shirt from the chair, and carried it with me into the cocoon. I drew the curtains closed again and sank into the softness, pressing the fabric to my face. His rich, warm scent filled the air, cinnamon and honey seeping into every breath. Now it was perfect. Now it was heaven. I curled into the blankets, hugging his shirt tight, and let my decision settle in me like stone. Tomorrow, I would tell Hia everything. I pictured it clearly. We would sit together on the balcony first, the lake stretching wide and calm before us. Then I would lead him inside, into my nest, not just the room. Here, the bed with its curtains drawn, my inner nest, my private sanctuary, the place only he and I would ever enter. Tomorrow, I would open it to him. When I glanced at the soft pink clock on the wall, it was already 5 in the afternoon. I had been in my nest all day. I opened the door and padded into the living room. Hia, in here, love. He had been watching sports, giving me space the entire time, not once disturbing me. My chest tightened with love at that. I have takeout, he said as I walked in. Let me heat up the food I got for us. Thanks, Hia. I'm starved. He smiled. I bet you are. He plated meat, rice, and dumplings for me, arranged everything carefully, and called me to the table. He pulled out my chair, waited for me to sit, then pushed me in gently. Hia, you're not eating? I asked, noticing no plate in front of him. I already ate, love. This is for you. Please, eat. Will you sit and keep me company? Of course. He sat to my right while I ate, his eyes soft, asking about my nest. I went off on a long tangent. The curtains, the love seat, the balcony chair, every detail. He just listened, taking in every word. That's wonderful, baby, he said at last, voice low and proud. I can't wait to see it. Tomorrow, I said. I want to introduce you to my nest tomorrow. His eyes warmed. Already? You're sure? Yes, Hia. I want you to see it. I want to share it with you. Then tomorrow it is. He smiled. Now eat up, baby.
My chest ached with quiet anticipation. I couldn't wait to see his things beside mine. His body wash, his soaps, his brushes lining our shelves and filling our space with him. Tonight, I would pamper him, draw him a bath, wash his golden hair with my own hands, and tend to him with all the care he deserved, while still honoring his modesty. I longed for the day there would be no walls between us, when we could be completely open with each other, but I would wait as long as it took. What we had was sacred, and it had to unfold in its own time. I had been on suppressants for a long time, but I had stopped taking them last week. I wanted the natural progression of our bond to unfold the way it was meant to. Our bodies would tell us when the time was right to make things permanent, and when that moment came, I would make sure we were both ready. He would never face any of it alone. I looked over at my beautiful boy, finishing his meal, and my heart was already decided. Whatever came next, we would face it together. Now, love, I said gently, tilting his face toward mine. Let's go upstairs and call it a night. I want to draw you a bath. I'll respect your modesty. I just want to take care of my Omega boy. Will you let me? He smiled, his eyes soft. Yes, I can't wait to be in that huge tub. Go into the room, undress, and wrap yourself in a towel. I'll come get you when the bath is ready. I promise I won't look. He laughed softly. Okay, Hia. Before he could move, I bent down and scooped him up into my arms. Hia! He exclaimed, laughing. Put me down! Nope. I carried him bridal style up the stairs, his giggles filling the whole house, his body so light in my arms, fitting against me perfectly, as if he had always been meant to be there. I set him gently on the bed so he could change, then went to find the cinnamon bubble bath in his box of things. I started the water, making sure it was warm and perfect, pouring in the soap until the tub filled with fragrant bubbles that smelled exactly like him. Baby, are you ready? Yes, Hia, come get me. My chest swelled. I went back into the bedroom. He was perched shyly on the edge of the bed in just a towel, arms lifted toward me. Small and trusting and so beautiful it almost hurt to look at him. I gathered him into my arms and carried him into the bathroom, setting him gently into the tub before turning away so he could drop the towel and sink into the bubbles. When I looked back, he was settled, his small body surrounded by foam, his eyes already growing soft with warmth. I knelt beside him and began to wash his shoulders and back with a cloth, working slowly and tenderly. He sighed, shifting into my touch. I stretched out his arms one at a time, washing them with care, then reached for the shampoo and worked it gently through his golden hair, my fingers massaging his scalp until a long, blissful sigh escaped him. I smiled to myself. Now, baby, I said softly, I'm going to step out and let you wash everything else. When you're finished, call me. I'll come back to rinse the conditioner and the soap. Okay, Hia. In the bedroom while I waited, I opened a box labeled sleepwear. Inside, soft silks in pinks, whites, and reds. Shirts, shorts, delicate gowns. I lifted out a blush pink silk slip, simple and elegant. Tonight, I only wanted to hold him, but the thought of him in that silk was already more than I could bear. Hia, he called. I returned to the bathroom. He was leaning back, hair glistening. I'm finished. Okay, love, stand up for me. I'll let the water out and rinse you with the spray hose. Hia promises to keep his eyes above your waist. He smiled. Okay, Hia. My beautiful boy rose, small and perfect, his skin flawless, even beneath the veil of bubbles. I kept my word, my gaze steady, rinsing his hair until it shone gold and clean, then rinsing the rest of the suds away. He watched me quietly the whole time, his smile soft and trusting. When I was done, I wrapped a towel snugly around him, lifted him from the tub, and set him at the vanity. I combed his damp hair until it lay smooth and shining, then blow-dried it gently, watching his eyes drift closed in pure contentment. When his hair was dry, I picked him up once more. He clung to my neck, looking at me with a softness that nearly undid me. In the bedroom, I set him on the bed and held out the gown. Hia chose this beautiful one for you. Wear it for me, baby. I'll take a quick shower and join you. Okay, he whispered. I kissed his forehead lightly, grabbed a pair of shorts, and went to shower, my heart already racing at the thought of holding him through the night.
As Hia shut the bathroom door, I fell back on the bed and smiled up at the ceiling. He had washed my hair with his own hands, carried me like I weighed nothing, tended to me with more patience and care than I had ever known, other than my mama when I was very small. I was truly blessed. My heart beat faster, the truth pressing at me from inside. I think I love him. I sat up, shaking my head softly at myself, and reached for the lotion, smoothing it over my skin slowly, savoring the warmth. Then I slipped the pink silk gown over my head and felt the fabric kiss my skin, cool and smooth, like liquid light. I shivered at the sensation, running my hands down the fabric. Out of everything I had ordered, this gown had been one of my favorites on the website, and somehow, Hia had chosen it for me. More than anything, I just wanted to be in his arms all night, wrapped in his warmth, surrounded by his scent, safe and loved.
I stepped out of the bathroom and stopped dead. He was sitting in the middle of the bed, the blush pink silk spilling over his thighs like a whisper of light, his golden hair soft and shining, his eyes shy but bright, hands nervously smoothing the fabric. For a moment, everything inside me went completely quiet. All I could do was stare. Baby. My voice came out lower than I meant. You look breathtaking. He lifted his head, cheeks flushing pink. Yeah, do you like it? I crossed the room without thinking, drawn to him like gravity. I sat on the edge of the bed and stood him up in front of me, letting my fingers drift over the silk at his shoulder, cool and soft beneath my hand, nothing compared to the warmth of him underneath it. Hia loves it, baby, I murmured, so soft, so perfect, just like you. He was so small, so delicate. I smoothed my hands over his waist. Both hands could fit around it entirely. Every part of him was beautiful. You're perfect, I whispered, leaning my forehead against his. And tonight, I only want to hold you. Can Hia hold you, baby? He let out the softest sigh and leaned into me, and I wrapped my arms around him, pulling him gently against my chest. The silk was a whisper between us, but his warmth was everywhere, his scent, his heartbeat, his trust. I eased us both back against the pillows, and he settled into me naturally, his head finding its place on my chest, as though it had always belonged there. I drew the blanket up around us. He shifted, curling his legs against mine, and let out the sweetest little sigh. Comfortable, baby? He hummed, eyes already fluttering. So warm, so safe, so good. My chest tightened. I pressed a kiss to the top of his head. That's all I want. For you to always feel safe in my arms. His fingers curled into my side, delicate and trusting. I do, Hia. I always do. The room grew quiet, except for the soft, steady rhythm of his breathing, sinking slowly with the beat of my heart. I let my hand rest across his back, stroking him gently until his body relaxed completely against me. I had never known peace like this, not in my whole life. Good night, my beautiful boy, I whispered. He didn't answer. He was already asleep, and I stayed awake just a little longer, memorizing the weight of him in my arms, the scent of cinnamon rising warm from his hair, knowing I would carry this moment with me always.
Morning light touched my face and I blinked awake slowly, remembering where I was. Hia's arms, Hia's bed. I tilted my head up to look at him. His face was serene in sleep, long dark lashes fanning over his cheeks, a piece of black hair fallen loose across his forehead. He always called me beautiful, but in truth, he was beautiful too. Not just handsome, kind and loving and endlessly gentle. After the way he had cared for me last night, how could I not love him? I smiled to myself. Yes, today I would tell him. I nestled closer into his chest. His arm tightened around me instantly, pulling me in. Nick, he murmured, voice thick with sleep. Hia, I sighed, curling deeper against him. His eyes fluttered open and a slow smile touched his lips. I can't believe I'm waking up with you in my arms. He pressed a kiss into my hair. This is the greatest morning of my life, love. His fingers slid gently down my cheek. How lucky am I to have such a beautiful Omega boy. I giggled softly. I'm the lucky one, Hia, to have such a kind and loving alpha. I'll always be kind and gentle with you, he said, always. I smiled up at him, then kissed his chest and sat up. Now, I'm going to make us breakfast. You stay here in bed and I'll come get you when it's ready. In the kitchen, I gathered eggs, bacon, and bread for toast. The food sizzled quickly, filling the house with warmth and the smell of something good. I set the table, poured Hia a cup of coffee, and went to the bottom of the stairs. Hia, come down for breakfast. He appeared at the top of the stairs, still only in his shorts. My breath caught, his chest sculpted, his waist tapering, every line of him strong and effortlessly defined. My alpha was so... I couldn't stop staring as he came down toward me, and he caught me looking immediately. "See something you like, baby?" he teased. I flushed and spun away. He laughed, slipping his arm around me and kissing the top of my head. At the table, I pulled out his chair. "Hey, that's my job," he said with mock sternness. "I want to take care of my alpha too," I said softly. "Please sit and eat the meal I've prepared for us." He smiled, sat down, and let me push his chair in before I took my own seat. We ate in easy, comfortable silence, his praise warming me with every bite he took. When we finished, I moved to clear the table, but Hia stopped me, pressing his fingers gently over my lips. "You sit, love. I'll do the dishes." I smiled, kissing his fingertips, which made him laugh as he carried the plates away. I sat back and watched him at the sink, his strong back flexing as he worked, muscles shifting beneath his skin. So effortlessly strong, so effortlessly mine. My eyes trailed lower, and heat rushed straight to my face. He turned, caught me in the act, and winked. I spun away, cheeks burning. His warm laughter rang through the whole kitchen. When he finished the dishes, he came over without a word and scooped me into his arms. "Hia," I squealed, laughing. "I can walk." "You'd better get used to me carrying you, love. Hia loves to carry his Nick." He carried me effortlessly up the stairs and set me gently on the bed. "Now, let's get dressed. How about we sit out on the dock for a while? The sun is shining bright today." "That sounds perfect, Hia." We made our way outside, the sunlight wrapping us both in golden warmth. Hia slipped his hand into mine as we walked the path down to the dock, and both of us were barefoot. He had convinced me to leave my shoes behind, telling me the earth would know us if we let it, that it would feed us and protect us and energize us if we honored it. He surprised me every day with the things he said, and he was right. The cool earth under my soles felt grounding, as if something invisible had tied me to this place. The lake shimmered in the light, calm ripples spreading across its wide surface. Birds darted through the sky. The breeze stirred the tall grass along the shore in soft whispers. "This," Hia murmured as we stepped onto the dock, "is why I wanted a house out here. Peace, quiet, a place where I can breathe." I glanced up at him, my heart swelling. "And now a place where we can belong," I thought quietly. The boards were warm beneath our bare feet as we walked to the end. Hia lifted his face to the sun, and for a moment he looked like he belonged to this place as much as the land and the water themselves. "Feel that, baby?" he asked quietly. "The earth under you, the sun above you, the air moving across your skin. It's not just nature, it's home, our home." I nodded, my toes curling against the warm wood. "It feels different, like I can breathe deeper." "Exactly." He squeezed my hand. "The land knows us, love. It carries us. And when we honor it, it gives back. That's how I want our life to be. You and me, giving to each other, caring for each other, so neither of us ever runs empty." My chest tightened. My alpha, so perfect, so perfectly mine. I leaned into him, resting my head against his chest, the rhythm of his breathing syncing with mine. The lake rippled gently, sunlight dancing like 1,000 tiny diamonds across the surface. I closed my eyes and whispered, "With you, it already feels like home." He turned his head and pressed a kiss into my hair. "That's because you are my home, baby." The words I'd been holding pressed harder at my lips, wanting to escape. "I love you. Not yet. Not quite yet. But soon." We sat together at the end of the dock, legs dangling, the sun warm on our shoulders. At one point, Hia went inside and came back with 2 cold bottles of water. We drank them slowly, his arm draped around me, our bodies pressed close, the whole day slipping away unnoticed around us. I turned to look at him, his beautiful face tipped toward the light, his eyes soft and far away. My chest was so full it almost hurt. "Hia," I whispered. He looked down at me, his eyes finding mine. "What is it, baby?" The words came out steady and certain, like they had always been waiting. "I love you." His entire face transformed. Everything in him lit up at once, bright and undone and overwhelmed, in a way I had never seen before. "Oh, baby." His voice broke. He gathered me into his arms and held me so tightly I could barely breathe. "I love you too, so much, Nick." I pulled back just enough to see his face, smiling through the tears pricking at my eyes. Then the world went quiet. His gaze dropped to my lips, mine dropped to his. Slowly, carefully, he leaned in. I closed the distance, and his lips brushed mine, soft at first, testing, then pressing more firmly. The moment our lips touched, something inside me ignited. I gasped, and he deepened the kiss, his hand cupping the back of my neck, steadying me. The sun was warm on our skin. The lake glittered all around us. But all I could feel was him. His mouth, his warmth, his love. Our first kiss. The best moment of my entire life. Something deep inside me shifted, clicked into place, like a door finally opening to a room I had been standing outside of my whole life. For the first time, I felt completely whole.
My beautiful boy told me he loved me. My heart felt too full, too bright to hold. I had never known happiness like this before. My soul bond, my fated mate, my beautiful Omega boy. He was everything to me, and now he had given me his heart. This moment was the greatest of my life. I was so grateful, so blessed to have this rare, beautiful boy who had brought me more joy in a few short weeks than I had known in years, with a lifetime still ahead of us. When we finally pulled back from the kiss, we just looked at each other. His gaze was soft and luminous, and in that instant, I knew there would never be anyone else. No other body, no other soul. I would love him until there was no more breath in my chest. This beautiful, rare jewel, there hadn't been another like him in centuries, and yet here he was, in my arms, all mine. The thought humbled me as much as it thrilled me. I drew him close, basking in the warmth of his love. He shifted, climbing into my lap, his legs wrapping easily around my waist, his arms tightening around my shoulders. I held him as if he were made of light. Rich cinnamon wrapped around us like a physical being, kissing his hair, his face, his neck. I soaked in his warmth, his scent, the tremble of his breath. Each touch etched itself into me, a promise this was where I belonged. I cradled him in my lap, his warmth seeping into me like sunlight into stone. Every breath he took against my neck felt like a vow whispered back to my soul. In that moment, I made my own. I would protect him, honor him, cherish him. Not just in the easy days like this, but in the storms too. Not just when he was soft and laughing, but when he was scared, when he needed me most. I had thought I understood devotion before, but it was nothing like this. This wasn't a choice I had to make. It was something written into me. My body, my heart, my soul, they had all already chosen him. I pressed another kiss to his hair, breathing in his scent. Whatever he brings me, whatever truth lives inside him, I will meet it with open hands. If he gave me only his smile, I would treasure it. If he gave me his burdens, I would carry them. If he gave me his future, I would build it with him. I tightened my arms around him, my voice low against his ear. "You're safe with me, baby, always." He stirred slightly, but didn't speak, only pressed his forehead into my neck as if he already knew. I gazed out over the shimmering lake, my beautiful boy in my arms, and thought, whatever secret you're holding, whatever truth you're ready to share, I'm ready, I'm here. Deep inside, I felt it. There was something big he was carrying, something he hadn't told me yet. I didn't know what it was, but it didn't matter. Good or bad, light or heavy, we would face it together. Always together. Me and my Omega boy. We sat for a long time. Me holding him tight, the sun shining on us. My heart felt too full, too bright to hold. He told me softly that he wanted to take me to his nest. I gathered him into my arms and carried him inside. I first took us upstairs to wash. I would wash us both a little, not wanting to do anything to disrupt his nest, his safe room. What I knew about Omegas was that they were very particular about keeping their nest clean and free from any pollutants. We had been sitting out in the sun all day, our bodies sweaty and our feet dirty from being outside. I took us both into the bathroom. I filled the tub, just adding a little bubble bath. I took both of our clothes off, both of us keeping our eyes on each other and not our bodies. I set us both in the water. He lay back in my arms. I washed his entire body, the cloth gentle, not lingering anywhere. He leaned back and lifted his face. I knew he wanted my lips. I met him halfway, kissing him softly, our tongues tangling soft, just tasting each other. His mouth was so soft and so sweet. He was heaven to me. He pulled away and grabbed my arms, wrapping them tightly around him. He sighed, leaning back, his head resting against my chest. I leaned forward and let the water out of the tub. I grabbed the spray hose and rinsed us both with the water. I reached to the side of the tub, grabbing a towel and wrapping it around him as he stood. I reached and grabbed one for myself as well, stepping out of the tub, then reaching in and picking him up. He wrapped his arms around me, and I carried us both to the bedroom. I set him down, dried myself quickly, then pulled on a pair of shorts. From his box of clothes, I chose a silk gown that ended at mid-thigh. I slipped it over his head, the towel sliding away as he lifted his arms. I eased the fabric down over his thighs, the silk clinging softly to his skin. He looked so soft, so beautiful. His bright eyes, his golden hair, his delicate face, all of him seemed to glow from within. My heart clenched at the sight. I gathered him back into my arms, and he held me tightly, arms and legs wrapping around me, his face nuzzled into my neck. I carried him downstairs and through the kitchen, tracing the soft pulse of his neck with my nose. His scent, rich cinnamon honey, was calming and intoxicating. We stopped just outside the door. This was it, the door to his sanctuary, the place he felt safest in the world. He looked up at me, his eyes wide and soft. "Ready, Hia?" he whispered. "Always my beautiful boy," I murmured, and I pushed the door open.
Thank you for spending this quiet moment with Cozy Fireplace Stories. Rest well tonight, and I'll meet you by the fire in the next chapter.